PFIPC. Chances are you've never heard of this purported government organization. It stands for the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC. Up until last week, this relatively unknown organization was out of the news. But when there was a budgetary allocation in the 2026 Appropriation Act, questions started to rise. What is this agency about? Who is at the head of it? How did they get into operations? We saw pictures online showing an office from the secretariat, and questions are arising like, if this is a scam, how come it has been allowed to go on for so long? At the helm of this organization is the Director General, Prince Adeniyi Adeyemi, who has said his qualifications, educational and professional otherwise, and yet, allegedly, there are no pictures, there are no evidence to back it all up. So the bigger question arises, if this is happening in government with allocation being made to what the presidency has come out to say is a fictitious organization and the matter is actually in the court, then how come it has been allowed to go on for so long? Who is responsible? Who is aiding and abetting? Joining me for this very important conversation is a good governance advocate and an author, Daniel Otabo. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you so much, Zabara. Thank you so much.
Pleasure to have you.
Yes.
I don't know, but have you heard of the PFIPC up until last week?
I'd seen some pictures and videos in the past. I wasn't fully aware of what they did at the time. I just thought it was one of those councils that they had in the government system. All up to last week when I saw the news and I was wondering what's going on here, right? And it's becoming interesting to just watch the stories unfold over the past 1-2 weeks. Yes.
Okay, so you've heard about it up until now.
Yes.
So when you started seeing the news last week, what went through your mind?
A couple of things came to my mind. Currently, there's the public trust for the government is really low. And to see such things happening again just affects the system. And then I saw the rebuttal from the presidency. First of all, it is not their place to put that out. There's a case right now to say, hey, how did this council get into the appropriation budget of 1.3 billion? How did you get there, right? And I think it requires independent investigation, not the presidency trying to correct that. So there's just so much going on, and I think it needs to be dealt with. Yes.
You said the trust in the government is very low. Why would you say that? And how does this whole case affect it?
You see, the Nigerian people have, over time, not had trust in the government because of promises that have been made and not met. And because of the corruption allegations across different parastatals in the government, right? Corruption cases, looting, budget padding, even during elections. So the people do not have great trust on the government. So it is now left for the government to say to themselves, hey, we have to get our act right. To see such news coming out from the presidency.
But isn't that a way to gain the trust of the people to say, look, this is in the court.
Yes.
We do not associate with this.
Yes.
And it's almost like trying to restore confidence. Why do you see it working against the government?
Guess what? There are multiple questions to be asked. First things first. How did this council get into the Federal Secretariat? Who gave that office space? Why and who signed that document to allocate that office space?
So, I mean, if you look at the images, you see the Director General of the PFIPC is in his office. You can see, the Nigerian coat of arms. It's all alleged. I mean, the footage that we're viewing right now. But we see, dignitaries, we see investors allegedly, having some kind of deliberations. And for what you said you had heard about this council in the past. So it's perhaps not the most popular, but it has been in existence.
Absolutely.
So that brings the question of time, longevity. If this is a scam, how come it has gone on for so long? And what does it say about the administrative checks and balances. The presidency coming out to give this rebuttal. What was being done up until now?
Okay. So I want to put this on record. The strong allegations against the presidency, it's something that we should look at. So the gentleman said that he paid a bribe of 400 million naira, allegedly, to the chief of staff. And the reason why they were having this circus is because he was told to pay more money. In fact, he was told that whatever allocation you get, you have to pay 48% of that allocation to the gentleman. That is what the gentleman is saying. Prince Adeyemi is saying that, hey, this is the cause for this circus, right? And that is a strong allegation, right? So we have to look at this very, very objectively. If someone has come to say there is an allegation against the chief of staff, it rests on independent institutions like ICPC, like EFCC, and the police.
I don't know if you can see this event.
Oh, yes.
You can see dignitaries.
Exactly.
You can see officials.
Yes.
You can see people. You can see the DG making a speech.
Yes.
So the question again goes back to, let's start with the Secretariat.
Yes.
For you to operate out of the Secretariat,
Exactly.
you have to have gotten
an approval.
Exactly.
Yes, especially from the SGF, has to be approved. Now, what we need to ask ourselves is, what letter was sent to the SGF?
What letter was sent to
Who
the SGF?
signed that letter? And who approved the office? In fact, he met with the EFCC chairman, in a sense, to talk about how,
Sorry to jump in, but this is the World Investment Summit that they convened.
Yes.
I mean, this is not a national thing. This is international.
It is.
You have people who are coming to Nigeria on account of the council because there is some kind of government backing. People won't just pack their bags and come and convene.
Yes.
So the question now arises, where's the funding for such events coming up?
Yes.
Where is it coming from? Who are the partners?
Yes.
Who are the sponsors?
Yes.
Who are the funders?
Yes. And that's what I think the investigation is going to tell the public, right? There are so many unanswered questions, so many of them. And one of the biggest issue currently is that there was a budget allocated to this council. It was right there, 1.3 billion naira. It's there. Let's assume he's a scam. Let's assume he's a scam. How did that amount get into the presidency's budget?
We'll get to that.
Yes.
We'll get, because I know that's the big question here.
Question,
like,
yes.
if this is a scam, what's he doing in the Appropriation Act of 2026?
Yes.
But again, if you look at just the fact that they are in the Federal Secretariat, does it mean there are security agencies that are aware? Does it mean that there are government officials who are signing for things, who are just upholding this whole council? Like, I think for you to have that kind of access, that's the biggest thing.
Absolutely.
It can't fully be a scam. Or if it's a scam, maybe there's more than one person to look at.
Yes. So, if both ways, if it is a scam, right, this is a huge scam. It's a failure on the system, if it's a scam. If it is not a scam, it's an even bigger problem for us. So whether it's a scam or not, it's left for the courts and the institutions that are behind this to find out for us, to investigate and find out for us. But the question still remains that someone gave an approval for him to use the Federal Secretariat. You just don't get an office in the Federal Secretariat as an independent private citizen. You just don't do that. So somebody must have written a letter to say, hey, allocate so and so office to this gentleman and his staff. Somebody signed that letter. In fact, the letter is even circulating. There are even letters from the Senate also circulating. So all of these things, to make matters worse, the gentleman, Prince Adeyemi, is saying publicly that he's willing to go to court and defend his case. He's standing by his words and he's going around giving media rounds, giving statements. So I am waiting to see what the ICPC will do concerning this case. Because it's a huge scandal that's affecting our reputation as Nigeria, as a country. I
mean, if you look at the images, this is a press conference.
Yes.
So this council hasn't been under the radar. Maybe not many people know about it, but they have been having events. I mean, they've had government officials, there's the office, and this has gone on for such a long time that it almost justifies having an allocation in the budget, because if you ask for doings and workings, these are examples.
Exactly. So it's like I said, we have to be careful as a country how we show ourselves to the world. If a man can infiltrate a system like this silently for this long without anybody noticing, let's assume it's a scam, that is a failure on the system itself. And with how far we're trying to fix and rebuild Nigeria, this does not tell well on the country. It doesn't. And the message or the reporter from Bayo Onanuga doesn't even cut it. It just excuses. So we need to wait for an independent investigation to be carried out and wait for the court to pronounce what exactly went on, because the public right now is under arrest. We are not confident in the current system as it is. We're not.
And perhaps if that allocation didn't come to light, things would have continued to exist.
Yes.
So it even brings up the question on timing. It brings up the question of why are all these things coming out now and why not then? So what can the government do to be restoring confidence beyond the rebuttals to show that there are no other institutions like this?
Absolutely.
Do Nigerians have to go through the 2026 Appropriation Act to start fishing out and doing
other councils and
MDAs to see which is real and which isn't?
You know, I think this, I hope that this whole thing, in a sense, makes the government understand that there is a problem that needs to be solved. You know, we need to fix our institutions, we need to fix our verification processes, and we need to ensure that we take ourselves from strong men to strong institutions. The verification process for any MDA, for any council, should be strong. You know, just even coming out to say this gentleman has been in existence since last year, operating, having meetings, having, you know, events on behalf of the government, it's a huge problem. So the government is to ensure, hopefully it has no hand in this case, hopefully. It has to ensure that it puts in place verification processes that are very strong, that it cannot just be infiltrated by an individual. That has to be in place. And again and again, you see, when things like this happen, like I mentioned, it shows that the system, Nigeria, is quite porous. And it makes the citizens to say to themselves, how many more, like you rightly mentioned, how many more of these MDAs or councils are in existence? It's why the government must come out boldly and show us letters, show us to say, hey, these are the documents that we have. We do not have this gentleman's record on our system. You must come out, after the investigation, come out and show the people, not just tweeting. It's more than just tweeting. It has gone beyond tweeting. Because like you rightly mentioned, the international bodies and other countries are watching what is currently going on, right? So it's more than just tweeting. You must come out and answer international questions, very, very direct questions. Number one, how did this gentleman get the office at the Secretariat? Number two, how did this gentleman's budget get into the appropriation budget of the presidency? Those things must be answered, and not answered with arrogance, answered with humility, with sincerity, and with transparency, so that the public can then, we can have that trust again for the government.
I mean, the convener has claimed approval to recruit 300 staff.
Absolutely.
That is massive. That is employment. I mean,
it is employment.
On record. And then, I mean, it's not just the Director General, Prince Adeni Adeyemi. You also have Ojo Victor, a deployed senior civil servant. You have another deployed senior civil servant, Ome Amarachukwu, and yet another one, Wakili Seidu. So these are civil servants. These are people who have, senior civil servants who have been in the civil service. They've been in government. If they're being deployed to an alleged fictitious or scam or sham organizations, surely they would be able to blow the whistle, because they know what is real and what is not real. They're not newcomers. They are people who are in the system. So it raises the questions of this is not one person that we're looking at.
isn't.
There are people.
It isn't.
The 300 staff and these people who were deployed from the civil service. Who approved all of this?
Yes, yes. So that's the question that is still left unanswered, right? There's no public record of how they got their approvals. There's no public record of how they got into those offices. Again, Isabella, you see, I feel bad for the country, honestly speaking. We need to start to build strong institutions that are independent, that are void of corruption, that can withstand things like this. At this moment, we should be seeing things from the ICPC. We should be seeing reports from the Nigerian police because it is a huge scam at the top level of government. It's not a local government issue. It's the presidency issue, the federal issue. At this time, it's been going on for too long. I am guessing, and I'm hoping it is not the case, that they are waiting for 2 weeks to come and people forget about this issue. Guess what? It's 61 days now since the case of the kidnapping in Oyo State. 61 days. Now we have this other issue coming up. There are so many issues happening. There's even the IMF issue currently going on. I am hoping that this would not be swept under the carpet because it is a huge elephant in the room that has to be dealt with. It has to be dealt with. So I want to see what the ICPC will do concerning this case. I want to see what they will do. I want to see what the Nigerian police will do concerning this case. We need to see investigations being carried out, and we need to see the result of these investigations. It has gone beyond just,
let's look at this picture. This
just
is
imagine that.
The DG with the EFCC chairman.
Yes.
So before you get into any of these roles, there's some kind of verification, and they make sure that you are worthy of such positions, that you don't have all these cases before these kind of organizations. Surely this is almost like a rubber stamp of integrity.
Yes. There's even a picture with him and the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly. There's a picture of him and the Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly.
So this DG, this man is not unknown to people in power. You can't just have pictures taken like this. Not when he's not wanted. So this is not we invited you. This is showing maybe collaboration, partnership.
Yes.
So if there's
approval also, in some cases.
It's also showing access.
Yes, access.
So how is this access being granted at various levels? That it's not just, okay, you have an office in the Federal Secretariat. It's also about these collaborations and partnerships with other agencies that are also meant to ensure that...
Checks and balances.
Exactly.
Yes. So again, when I look at this case, I've been following this case for the longest of time. When I look at this case and there are news concerning his meeting with the Deputy Speaker. There are news with the EFCC chairman like we just saw. There are news with him meeting with investors, ambassadors in his office. It's just circulating. It begs the question, again, like we've said, who were the people that granted this gentleman the access to meet these people? What were the letters presented to say, yes, this is a recognized, approved council? You can't just walk up to the EFCC chairman to ask for office, or the SGF office to ask, I need an office space at the secretariat. It's not even possible.
I mean, you can't do it. I can't do this. We're going to see the appropriation bill. That's the 2026 Appropriation Act.
Yes,
and you can see it. It's there on the screen. This is not alleged. This is not fake. This is not a scam. This is what is there. And the allocation is there. Right there with other councils and agencies and MDAs.
I think it's number 15.
So, how did it get here?
That's the big question.
How easy is it to get into this act?
And for us to have seen this in public, right, it has gone through multiple processes. It has been approved. Someone reviewed this bill. Who reviewed this bill? Who signed this bill? And who made it public for us to now then see? We wouldn't have seen it if it hadn't gone through these processes.
If you look exactly at number 18, you'll see it.
Yes, actually, number 18, yes.
And this is not the draft. This is not the...
It is not.
This is the final thing. This has gone through layers levels of review.
Yes.
So why are we seeing it now? I don't know how many times Nigerians have the opportunity to see this. So how come we're having that access?
In fact, there is a story that is saying that he is the one who even blew the whistle to say, hey, the reason why I'm being targeted is because allegedly I was told to pay a 600 million naira to get that position. And I have paid 400 million naira, left with 200 million naira. We're having an issue right now because I was told to pay 48% of whatever comes to my council to the chief of staff. That is what the case is about currently. And that is why it's currently in the public, right? And guess what? And I'm so grateful. Right now, Nigerians are very, very meticulous and are paying attention to what the government is doing. Gone are the days when things just fly, we're not aware. Right now, in fact, there's a website that has now been taken down. Nigerians have gone to dig up the website, check what number is there, check who is it connected to. There are those informations online. Nigerians are no longer sitting back. They are doing their own investigation whilst they wait for the ICPC to come and show what went wrong.
So for the lay people out there, we know that the lawmakers, this is their work.
Yes.
This is why they sit to create laws. Yes. And this is a piece of legislation. The Appropriation Act is a piece of legislation. So what are the lawmakers doing if this is on the bill? Who's taking the responsibility? The presidency can come out with a rebuttal, but how did we get the Appropriation Act if it did not go through different levels I mean, with our lawmakers in the chambers?
Yes, it's a shame. You know, we've been saying for the longest of time as Nigerians that it looks as though the current Senate is a rubber stamp legislative arm. And when we see things like this, it's almost as though what the public is saying is true. Like you rightly mentioned, are you not looking at these things? Do you just get a bill and just sign? How has this guy been operating for almost a year without being noticed?
No, he's definitely being noticed, because if we see all these events that are happening and you have people coming into the country, so this is not like a local government thing. It's an international thing. It is. And this has been going on. I think it also raises the questions of the different agencies, the security agencies, the agencies that are the judiciary, the agencies responsible for verifying people before they take office, that rigorous process. Was due diligence carried out? You
know when you said, as you just mentioned, there were even news of them saying that he has always been doing this scam. I even think that's even an indictment on the presidency. Because if he's always been doing this scam, did you not check in? Was there no background check on this individual? Let's assume. So this individual that has history of scams could go and sit and shake hands with the EFCC chairman, could shake hands with the deputy speaker, could get a letter that would not give him an office at the federal secretariat, a scammer. When you look at these things, it's just really sad, to be honest. To put it plainly, it's really sad, and it doesn't tell well of my country, Nigeria. It doesn't. It doesn't. And
it's beyond even, say, the current government. We've seen pictures of him with past leaders. We're talking about President Obasanjo, President Goodluck Jonathan. So this is access. This is not, allegedly paying for a position in this government. How do you explain? And when we say access, it's almost like a rubber stamp. You don't just take your picture with anybody if you hold such positions. Because it then begins to question your integrity. So again, it raises the question of how has this access been granted? I mean, the Oni of Ife, these are our leaders, traditional rulers, past leaders, elder statesmen.
Yes. One thing I would say, and it's, I do not know where he met past presidents. I don't know where they met, but it is possible he must have met them, take pictures and posted it. It's possible. Those things are possible. Getting access to the Oni of Ife, for example, is, it's not such difficult thing to do. I have also snapped a picture with the Oni of Ife, right? Those accesses can be explained. The ones that cannot be explained is the ones that comes with his office. If you snap a picture with the past presidents as Prince Adeyemi, That's okay. But as the DG, that is the one that we have to ask ourselves, what's going on here? What's going on here?
And there's a lot of media around this.
Absolutely.
You have active social media accounts. You have a trail of media reportage. So this is not something hidden in the corner. So how did it go past the presidency? How was it allowed to go on for so long and right there in the open?
Publicly.
Yeah, it's
there are
public.
Videos, there are pictures everywhere. You know, and I think this might go.
I mean, if somebody comes out to say something that's negative, you against this government, you could find yourself allegedly in prison.
Of course.
So that already shows there's a certain level of media scrutiny.
Of course.
So how come this media scrutiny is not being applied to, let's say, itself, to the arms of government, to government organizations?
Yes. You know, like we would have to wait, and I'm hoping, even though hope is not. I wish and I hope that our institutions, again, I've been mentioning the ICPC, because I need them to understand that this is under their purview. They must deal with this. They must deal with this. They must give it as much attention as it needs, because it's not going to die down. And I'll tell you why. The coming next year's elections, every indictment on this presidency will be used against it. Now, people would say, you know, the presidency doesn't care about this, but guess what? This is more than just Nigeria right now. This gentleman has represented Nigeria as though he is the presidency in itself, in a sense, meeting up with ambassadors, speaking on behalf of, you know, with investors that are coming to Nigeria, holding meetings with them. So we must wait and see what those investigations are going, you know, what's going to bring to us, and to say these are the reports that we have from our investigation, and then hold the government accountable.
I mean, let's look at IT.
Yes.
You can't just get a .gov,
oh, no, you can't.
.ng
you can't.
website address.
You can't.
It's not available to be bought by
can't.
you or me.
No.
You have to be in government.
Yes. Yes.
There needs to be several levels of approval before, because that is, you know, cyber property of the government.
It is.
So if you have access to that, then surely there are many more people that are involved in this.
And I hope those people are uncovered, because like you rightly mentioned, you can't even get a .edu, for example, for universities by just buying it. You have to write a letter. It has to be approved. How much more .gov? So when you think about these things here, you know, you will realize that Prince Adeyemi, he didn't do this alone. There's no way he would have done this alone. And it's what I am waiting for, to see what the investigation is going to, you know, show to us, to see how many people were involved in this huge scam. It could go down in history as one of the highest scam ever in Nigerian history. It will go down that way. It will go down that way. It would.
I mean, the final thing before we close is there's a claim, allegedly, by Prince Adeyemi that the middleman, the go-between, has died under mysterious circumstances in a fire. So, again, this needs to be investigated.
Oh, yes, it has to be.
That means there are more people from the claim around paying money to now someone is dying. What needs to happen before this is given the necessary attention, not just a rebuttal from the presidency?
I would say this, now that you just mentioned, that it is in the best interest of the presidency and everyone involved that Prince Adeyemi doesn't die. It's in their best interest. Because if that happens, it doesn't even help the case. It reassures the people that, yes, indeed, we're right as to what we're thinking, that maybe there's someone in the government who is aware or involved. So we need to be careful to say to ourselves, let us wait and see what the investigation shows us again, because all of this is allegedly. Even though there are facts being documents, facts being the office, right? Even though these things are in the public space, facts being even the domain name. So we need to be patient as a people to say to ourselves, let us wait for the investigation to be carried out, and let us see the report from the investigation. And it has to be done swiftly. It has to be done swiftly. You can't sweep this under the carpet. This is a huge elephant in the room that must be dealt with.
Thank you very much, Daniel Otabo, good governance advocate and
much.
author. Thank you for your contributions.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
This is an issue that cannot be afforded to be swept under the carpet. Nigerians have questions, and rightly so. If this indeed is a scam organization, and we have a rebuttal from the presidency, why was this organization allowed to function for close to a year? Allocated a space in the Federal Secretariat, received budgetary allocation in the 2026 Appropriation Act, and the DG, Prince Adeyemi, has pictures, evidence of access to key people in government, past leaders, traditional rulers. So many questions are being asked, and we won't stop asking them till we get answers. We'll go on a quick break on Rubbin Minds. Lagosians, mainland island, Lagos is going underwater, and when it rains, people's businesses literally go down and activities have to pause. Buildings are submerged, activities are cut short, children can't go to school, businesses have to close. Millions of naira goes down the drain, literally, when we start thinking about the repairs, thinking about the injuries, and in some cases, deaths. The government has come out to say that it's the indiscriminate refuse dumping that is clogging the drainage. But questions arise on what has been done by the government to ensure that we protect our environment, to ensure that we're ready for the rains. Joining me for this very important conversation that affects every single person in Lagos State and even beyond when you're living in the coastal areas. I have with me Eyimisan Abdulsawan, who is a very concerned citizen. We've seen like your footage go out regarding the floods, and we're going to go into that. And then we also have a development expert, Prince Victor Udoka. Welcome to Rubbin Minds.
Thank you for having us.
Wow. Some days we just pray that it doesn't rain, because it could literally be the decider of if work happens, if school happens, if anything happens.
Yes.
Because sometimes you wonder, in a state like Lagos, should we also have canoes as well as cars? No, it's a serious question.
Thanks for having me here. One of the things that has happened in the past few weeks is I bought a boat, and that boat was used to take children from point A to B to school, and some other people, and the flood has been really bad. Even though we've been hearing things like, oh, it's flash flood, in 1 hour it will go, but some places has not been that case. Places like my side, Agungi Ajiran, has not been like that. It doesn't go after, it reduces, but there are some places that just constant water there, and it disrupts a lot of work. A lot of people can't go to work, and it just affects business around the area.
I'll pose the same question to you. I mean, you have a boat, so that has come in very handy. I don't know, maybe the question shouldn't have been a canoe. Maybe, do we all need boats? Because if a flash flood is no longer flashing and it's staying, then how do we move?
Yeah, that's a very great question, and it's a concern that a lot of people are starting to have. Let's say from the past 2 to 5 years, we've been seeing the level of flooding increase. First of all, last year's rain was not as intense as this year's rain. So we are seeing climate change, and then also the development of basically human activities. All of that is starting to affect living, especially in that stretch from Victoria Island to Agungi Ajiran, Orchid Road, even some further down into Monash Road, Shangotedo. And then now we also saw how the flooding moved into mainland, which is something that
Maryland was affected, the Maryland Bridge. So it's not an island thing anymore.
It's more of the proof of climate change that has been ignored. I do think that when you look at the footage of Nigeria...
Yeah, let's take a look at your footage, and let's get into that.
Wow. So, are you recording? So, this is where the water is reaching me. And I've not even gone far. I've not gone deep inside. I am 6'2". This is where the water is reaching. Lagos State government, local government, please fix our road. Please, year in, year out, every single year, we have water issues. Please come and fix the road. Because when it comes to election and everything, we start seeing...
I want to add my own please too, because I know that this government really needs to get into this. Like, we need solutions. It's no longer about press releases. It's no longer about this is a flash flood. It's no longer about that the drainage is... If it's really about the drainage, are we saying that we cannot enforce people to keep the drainage clean? If it's about people building illegally, are we saying that the demolitions are not enough? What can this government do to prevent the loss of lives, property, and stopping of businesses? I mean, looking at that, all I can begin to think about is malaria. I'm thinking about diseases. I'm thinking about the mosquitoes. I'm thinking about people dying because this water is left and all of this happens. Like, this is an emergency. This should not be swept under the carpet. It should not.
I yesterday, funny enough, had the opportunity to take a walk with the commissioner, Honorable Tokunbo Wahab, through my area, because he messaged me on Instagram and said, I want to come to check your Ajinro and Agungi area. I'll need you to be there so you could actually just really tell me what's really going on. And I took a walk, and while he was there, he explained some things. And as much as you see, I have, listening to him, I could tell that him and his team have tried to do one or two things, but they have come across different challenges. Some of it is developmental challenges, people, individuals like that developers that have sandfield places where water should exit from, that he then has to pull down. Some of it is approval. He needs a level of approval before he can take on the project. But he also mentioned some things around, how far they have gone in trying to address different issues. If you notice, there has also been some news around the coastal road, people saying, oh, their houses didn't used to flood, but with the coastal road, their houses are flooding because the water is going nowhere, right? That is even a federal state government project, but he's been navigating around that.
So I hear you, and Nigerians hear you, but that doesn't change the fact that we don't have solutions and people are going to be impacted. So at this point, like, if it's approval we need to get, who do we need to speak to? Do we need to speak to our lawmakers? Do we need to write to agencies? Lives are at stake. So we need more than we hit a roadblock. We need solutions. And I want to move to you, Prince Victor. Part of the thing is about people collectively taking responsibility. Do you think that it's us or people putting waste that is really causing this? Or are there bigger issues? Because before you build in Lagos, you need approval. So somebody is giving that approval for that place to be sandfield before it's even built. And it's still government.
Okay, so to answer this question, let me just take our minds back to the early stages of development from Lagos Island to the Lekki Peninsula. So we know that most parts of Ikoyi, the Lagos Island was sandfield. And then we know that most parts of from Lekki was also sandfield. We have some pockets of land. If you zoom out and look at the map entirely, you see nature already gave us pockets where those areas will act as sponges. So as rain falls, they flow naturally into it. So now sandfilling in itself is not a bad what's the word? It's not a bad development process, but once you cover up somewhere, you're supposed to make a channel so that when the water that's supposed to be there comes there, they will still automatically find a way to go, because water obviously needs somewhere to flow into or something to soak it up. You understand? But most of these developments, we don't see new challenges being created. Like, first of all, we have a development in Ikota GRA, where they literally shrunk a 100 acre land. They shrunk it to 100 acres. So now, sandfilling in itself is not a bad development process, but once you cover up somewhere, you're supposed to make a channel so that when the water that's supposed to be there comes there, they will still automatically find a way to go, because water obviously needs somewhere to flow into or something to soak it up. You understand? But most of these developments, we don't see new challenges being created. Like, first of all, we have a development in Ikota 6 feet wide canal into just a few centimeters to build up to 6 terrace duplexes. But that has been taken down. But now that has been demolished, nothing has still been done. That gutter is still that same size. They've not expanded it to match what was there before. You understand? So even if, as people are making their own actions to destabilize natural environment, and the government makes their own steps, okay, this is what you're supposed to do, this is not what you're supposed to do. But development itself is something that humans are the only ones that are doing it. So by humans making their own efforts to find places to live, they're also making minor degradations to the environment.
It has a stronger impact.
Yeah.
I mean, I hear you. As someone who, probably 2 years ago, I was here, and where I was living was demolished. And it was also, building on drainage and all of that. And this was in Maryland.
Yes.
It's this same Maryland, Mende, that we saw the flooding. So I'm going to go back to the question of, if government is demolishing buildings, why is the follow-up not being done to expand these channels? Because the excuse can no longer be there that is a building that is in the way. The buildings are down. You gave the Ikota example. I'm giving you a personal example, Mende, Maryland. So why are we not expanding these channels? Or do we need a special approval? And if we do, from who?
So I can speak a bit to that. One of the things that we have as problems is that we don't follow up. When it becomes dry season, everybody abandons it because we are, even us, as we don't press on.
Is that our responsibility to follow up, to say, oh, you have demolished this set of buildings, oh yeah, come and expand it? Or is it the government's responsibility to follow through to ensure that we are prepared? Because rainy season does not take you by surprise.
No,
we know that come this month, we will have rainy season. So what has this government done from last year, the previous year, to ensure that we're not at a worse stage? Because it's like the problem is getting worse. I mean, from a development point of view, do you agree that the problem has gotten worse?
Yes, I agree. I agree. But what I can say is, it's two sides. So the way we have it right now, let me be as open as possible. Both the citizens and the government, we are not working hand in hand.
Synergy.
Yeah, so the citizens on the other side, their responsibility is, we are renting here because with development, is that rental or you buy those properties. So you are living there regardless you are renting or you're buying. So your responsibility to the government is, obviously, you have your local government that you reach out to. So that local government, the citizens living in those areas that were affected or previously affected that they demolished to create new pathways, like you said, following up. So, this has been done. Let's prepare for the next step. Exactly. Right? So, and then the government too, in as much as the government is the power, they're also still working for their citizens. You understand? So they also should make processes where the citizen can share ideas even, right, and communicate challenges.
I hear you, but again, maybe as someone who has had to move as a result of a demolition, I know firsthand that when we're looking for a place, we're asking all these questions, and it begs the question, the functions or the roles and responsibilities of realtors, of developers, because I don't want to move to a place where they're going to demolish. I don't want to move to a place where it's going to get flooded. I don't want to move to a place where tomorrow they'll say, oh, this is not a habitable place. Yes, that's what I want. So are you putting the blame on some of these realtors? Is greed now the order of the day? And are these realtors operating independently, or is the government in cahoots with them? Because again, you can't get C of O. Where we were staying had C of O.
Yes.
But somehow it wasn't in the master plan and it had to come down.
So can I even say something before, because I know he's more in development, but from interacting, since I did that video, I've been getting a lot of information from developers and other people. And one of the things that I come to realize, especially about Nigeria, is there's what it should be and there's what it is. If we keep focusing on what it should be, we would keep arguing back and forth. But what it is, where are we currently? And one of the easiest thing, like what he said, is synergy. Holding the government accountable to say, see, this thing has not been done. We are going to keep punging on this thing until it's done. I bet you that they always drive results, especially when it's in a mass number. The reason why that video is because the video had over 2-point-something million accounts. So you see the impact. I am first evidence of impact,
People.
seeing it work. And I, as much as possible, I've entered into people's estates. Found out that within even the estate, they don't take care of their gutters. That in itself will cause flooding.
True.
Then when rainy season comes, you find out that in the small governmental state of individuals governing their mini space, you find out that management is a problem.
Yeah.
You then understand that the scale, at government scale, is what is being repeated in small fractions that is not taking big scale.
True.
So it then takes individuals like us, you and I, to say, even during dry season, we are not stopping from hammering that place was demolished, the gutter has not been fixed, we need it to be fixed. Until that happens simultaneously, the government will have no option. They won't need to run here or there. They would know, no matter what we do, we have to fix this thing, and they will have to fix it.
True.
And I would also add this. Whenever you're asking the question, how do you know that you're aiming for results, is when you insist on timelines.
True.
Once you insist, like when I had a conversation yesterday, I said timelines. What is the timeline? Oh, this road has been awarded. They need to fix the rain. That's amazing. What's the timeline I'm working with here? So that when I do my next video and tell people, you said 3 months. By month 3, I will come and I will do another video and say, this place hasn't been fixed.
Yeah.
This thing hasn't been done. Why is it extended?
Yeah.
So with that, it just then gets, movement to be done effectively. That's what I would say.
I hear you clearly on the role of the citizens and us working in synergy with the government. If the government also has an open approach. I mean, if you didn't do that video, chances are you wouldn't have audience with the Honorable Commissioner.
True.
So, I mean, to you now, when we look at realtors, when we look at developers, when we look at the people in this space that are getting the approvals from government to build these houses, or even let's even look at the environmental that has been introduced. What's the impact of all of that?
Okay, so let me start. This your question has 2 parts. So let me start from the realtors and developers. So real estate in Lagos is arguably one of the most profitable industries now. And we see that, first of all, every year, more and more millions of people come into Lagos, either looking for opportunities to grow businesses, to grow their personal endeavors, their careers. So, but the real estate space, when it comes to realtors in particular, before I go to developers, is not as regulated. Why I say that is because anybody today can go and snap a house and say they want to rent it out or they want to sell it. You understand? Even though it's supposed to be, if you're looking at our counterparts in other countries, there's supposed to be processes. So this developing company, they have their team of sales, agents, their sales agents. They give you open information, what you're supposed to know, not just telling you because you need it now. In Lagos, a nice apartment has 10 people looking at that nice apartment. And then out of those 10 people, first of all, the landlord is going to say, okay, this person is offering me, let's say 5 million, for example, and this person is offering me 10 million. This person will tell his own agent, increase the money to 10 million. That's why we are seeing rental prices going up. It's not even really because the value of those properties are worth those amounts. It's because of, first of all, they are seeing the increased demand. Everybody wants to stay in a good place. Even if I'm paying a little amount, at least let it be conducive, right? And then if I'm paying so much money, let me get enough value for my property. So, but now it's a question of, they will tell you, oh, you're living in Maryland, you're living in Ikeja, but the property might not even worth looking at it, even looking at the structures, you can see that they don't even worth.
So I hear you on the influx of people and how lucrative this sector is, because people are constantly looking for places and people take advantage of that. But again, the question is, before these developers, the realtors, the architects, the builders get a structure up, before we even get to the part of renting for 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, somebody has given an approval. They have done a survey. They have put up a structure. And it has been allowed into the market for a free-for-all. It's a separate conversation. How do you have peace of mind when you go to your realtor, you go to your landlord, you go to your agent, and they say, don't worry, this is C of O, these are the documents, and you're sleeping in your house. The next morning, you wake up, and they're coming to demolish. This is a true life experience. And I came on air to say it because it happened to me. And I've heard from so many people that it has affected.
True.
So the government is approving. The realtors are benefiting. But the tenants, the people who are living there, the residents are suffering.
True.
So who is taking responsibility for this?
True.
Who is taking responsibility for houses being built on floodplains?
Yeah. So I would like to tilt and speak to that too. One of the things that came up in this whole conversation is how people build, they have their survey and every single thing, and the CFO is given, but there's now also the pattern of developers encroaching, extending, their this thing beyond where it should be. That's one. Two is that I do not think that the government agencies are not accomplices. They are part of the problem, meaning that there needs to be check and balance. If someone has been given C of O and the person has all the complete documents, I think that before even you say the person has complete document, there has to be like a natural assessment to be sure, like, is this blocking a major drainage? Let's not give it. So when all those things have been pedaled down to how much you can give, instead of what should be done, it then destroys the tangibility of any single thing. So even I now, the fear of buying property comes up in my mind a lot.
No, it's a real fear. Any final closing words?
Yeah, so to answer that question, I'll say when it comes to buying properties, like I said earlier, most times people are usually in the desperate side because timing, sometimes your money can come later and you have to act quickly before you disburse to other means. So you have stipulated time to buy this or invest in so and so for your personal use. So most times people don't ask the right questions like, show me the documents and the validity.
And the environmental
You understand?
assessment.
Environmental Nobody really asks for that.
Assessment.
Yeah.
So asking the right questions and not acting in desperation. Thank you very much, Emerson Abusonwa and Prince Victor Udoka, for your contributions on this very important topic. And please continue to do the work you're doing. We're truly grateful.
Thank you very much.
Citizens will do what citizens will need to do. Yes, we will obey the environmental, we'll stay at home, we'll clean. But the government needs to step up to the responsibility to ensure that people who are blocking these drainages are actually apprehended. And the LOMA, the agencies responsible for this environment, are functioning at 100% capacity. No longer will we continue to take excuses. No longer will Lagos continue to flood. We cannot be the mega city that we purport to be if we continue to suffer from floods year in, year out. For Lagos to truly be that mega city and that economic hub of not just sub-Saharan Africa, but the entire continent, a lot more needs to be done by this government to ensure